Mr. Fox Hayes once said, "I believe the good that men do will live long after they're gone." These words represent a calling for Kentucky farmer and hunter Austin Musselman. He has dedicated more than half his life into transforming his family's 3-generation cattle farm into a homegrown sanctuary for wildlife. Join us as we follow Austin and his team and watch them reap the rewards sown by decades of hard work, dedication, and love for one piece of land. Consistently harvesting giant whitetails is an accomplishment in itself. To do it on your own land and to grow one of the largest whitetails ever harvested in the state of Kentucky is in a league of its own. These are their stories, and this is how they do it. Welcome to Homegrown.
Here in Kentucky, we open in September, which is pretty unusual for the rest of the country. So we have opportunity to hunt velvet deer. And one of the benefits is they're still on their summer feeding pattern. They're still coming to the green fields. They're still in the clover and eating the beans. The beans haven't turned yellow because we find a lot of success that way. We prefer to hunt the early season really because we see them using our food plots and we see them coming to the sets in the areas that we've been building and shaping so long, and to see how they react to it and how it's changed over time, it just keeps it all new.
The deer that I was after this year, called Short Time 10, he was a deer that actually lived on an adjoining farm probably 3 or 4 years ago as a 3-year-old. And you could tell he was neat. He was a really wide deer. He was a 10-pointer. He just had really short tines. He was really wide. He's always been really wide. And he just had, so thus his name, Short Time 10. So we figured he was, 5 years old or so, and he was short tine. So, we saw other deer that with long tines and things like that we chose to harvest, and we just kind of let this deer go. And then last year, as a 6-year-old, we're like, wow, he really put on some mass. He really, he's mature now. Let's maybe go after him. This year we had we had high hopes that he was still around, and sure enough, we put out the cameras early, and you could tell that it was him. And we watched him from July all the way up until here this opening weekend, and he was pretty patternable. Which early season he hadn't been pressured in a year, so it's like, we get this deer, we got to do it really, really early in the season before he gets educated. So that's what we did. We got in kind of a unique spot. I mean, he's a deer that's very observant, and he notices changes and things like that. So we're paranoid. We take the same truck, you wear the same boots, all the things, the superstitions that may be true, may not, but you try to stack everything in your favor. So we hung a set. It's not really a panoramic spot to hunt from, but this deer, if you went and trimmed a whole bunch of limbs out, he's going to notice. He notices these kind of things. So kind of back in the woods in a little cubby hole, and basically just have a window to shoot out of. I feel like I tend to be, kind of do-it-yourself person. I work on my own cars, things like that. The homegrown, to me, there's such a much greater appreciation in this process when you're a part of the whole process, of the planting the crops, the running the cameras, all the work that goes into it. To me, that completes the whole cycle. It's not just showing up and going somewhere where it's like, okay, here's a deer, go out and get in this tree and shoot it. You're part of figuring that deer out. You're part of that deer's history from when he was a 2-year-old, and tracking it and picking up his sheds every year and keeping those sheds and just tracking this deer's life cycle, and you feel like you're part of it. It's not shopping, it's a lifestyle.
Opening day and opening week here, it's really special. You've been waiting so long since last year hunting, and it's finally arrived. We talk about homegrown, and this deer is just a perfect example of that. We did everything from preparing the soils, getting the ground fertile again, planting the foods, passing up deer, scouting, and it's just, when you finally sit there and you're holding a deer like this, it just all rings true of why you did this, why was this work worth it. And it's really the satisfaction of doing this yourself, from basically building it from nothing to producing just the best thing you could ever imagine. It's just, it's unspeaking of how, really special it is. When you grow your own deer, when you sit there and hold a deer of that caliber, it's just, there's something special to it after the long wait in the season, and when you finally harvest a deer like this after home growing it on your land, it's just that much more special.